Today we have a very special guest who we call our dream catcher. We are dream chasers that took a leap of faith and followed our heart during challenging times, like so many did. If you have a goal to own a home in Italy, stay tuned, grab a drink or a cuppa and take some notes. This conversation will shed some light for some of your unanswered questions. We are so happy to introduce Davide Mengoli, the founder of Salento with Love, also now extended to include renting in Puglia and Salento with Love real estate. Davide was our property finder for our home in Galatene, and through Salento with Love, we continue to hire their property management services. We regard Davide not just as a friend, but our Salento family. We're so blessed and grateful to have come across his YouTube channel in 2020 during lockdown. Davide is an entrepreneur who has traveled the world. He is an art connoisseur, international property investor, but he is more. He's a visionary who is passionate about his work, and he really does seek to help others, not only on the path of finding a home, but to the finished product. He has a keen eye for detail, which you can see in the renovations he's undertaken, and you can see more of his work on his YouTube channel if you haven't already. I highly recommend you follow Salento with Love. We will have the link in the description. So let's welcome Davide. So I'm really, really excited to have Davide here today, and we welcome him to the channel, and I hope he's going to have all these questions for you answered. And here he is.
Hi, Davide.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Hannah, Michael, and the many followers of your channel, which is it's growing and is developing. So wonderful to have the opportunity to be hosted on your channel. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Here,
yeah, thank you for your time. We know you're busy.
Yep.
So Michael's going to do the questions.
I'll do the questions. I've got them on my phone. Okay. How did Salento with Love come about, and how long has the business been in operation for?
Well, I think it's like a love story. You know, you can never really set a moment to when things started, but sometimes, I mean, people that have been following Salento with Love, they think probably that Salento with Love started with their own experience when they met us. But in 2002, when I lived in the UK, I lived in the UK until 2018. I wanted to buy a property in Salento. My roots were here. I was born in Switzerland, but my roots were here. And I was a little bit fed up of coming here on holiday and spending time with my mum and dad, really. I was grown up, married with a successful business. So we decided to buy our first holiday home. And I say first because, well, that was followed by a second one and a third one. But already when I finished refurbishing the first one, I thought it would be great if people could use this as a holiday home. This was back in 2002. I don't even remember if booking.com existed. I think Airbnb definitely didn't exist. And I created a website in 2003 called Salento with Love. And I had the guy working and doing all the graphic design for the art gallery that I owned in London, creating a logo, which I love very much. So when I need to answer the question, when Salento with Love was created, I would like to think it started with something and it became something completely different, but round about the beginning of the 2002, 2003.
Oh, there you go. Very good.
That caught you by surprise, eh? You didn't know that part of the story.
No, I thought I heard part of this story, but then I thought I didn't hear the second part.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then when the business really started, if you want me to answer that question, it was in the beginning of 2019. At the end of 2018, we incorporated here in Italy. I incorporated in the UK first as Salento with Love UK Limited, and then I incorporated in Italy as well as Salento with Love SRL. And I kept the logo, and I really started by using the fundamentals of 2002, 2003, which we were going to explain probably later on in this interview. But the actual company was formed in 2019.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. And can you provide our viewers with an overview of what Salento with Love actually offers?
Well, I like circle. Everybody who works around me, I always say, close the circle, close the circle. You know, very important for me to create circles. So when I first started, Anna Maria was There's my sister, who actually sits right next door to me now on another desk. I kind of had this. You're saying hi to Anna Maria. Anna Maria, you can jump quickly in the video.
Hello.
So
Goodbye.
she still works extremely hard early in the morning here in the office together with everybody else. But my idea wasn't to start a company assisting clients to purchase a property in Salento. It wasn't really my original vision, although it was part of the circle that I will mention. My idea was based on my needs, where when I purchased properties here in Salento, I could rely on family and friends to turn these properties into rental properties. And I did particularly well. And I enjoyed also the refurbishment process on my own properties. But the main concern was the refurbishment. So who's going to handle it? So I drove my brother crazy, both of them actually, at the time. We're talking about 2007, 2006. And then after that was renting the properties. And it was like, who's going to do the check-in? Who's going to do the cleaning? Who's going to do the maintenance? So when you ask what services, well, the services of Salento with Love were driven really by the need of offering property management services to people who are not based here on the ground. And all of those things which are sometimes fun to do, but at the same time can turn into a nightmare if you're thousands of miles away. So the idea of Salento with Love was to offer an all-round property management service, going from the most minute thing, which he was like, how do I pay my utility bills? And I was living in the UK, and even with my internet banking was a nightmare. So for me, offering to my clients the opportunity to have peace of mind when it came to making sure that the utility bills were paid, the property tax were paid, the refuse charge on a yearly basis was paid, and then reaching into who's going to clean the house, who's going to do my check-in if I decide to rent the property, who's going to do maintenance work if something breaks down while a tenant is in there. So all of those things were really the fundamental elements of Salento with Love when it was created. And those are really very much our core business today. 4 years later, well, I must say we go proud by saying that we are the only property management that offer a 360-degree service to clients who don't live here. And even if they live here, I must say we have clients now that they've moved into their own properties. They live here full time and they're still using our services because, wait, if you can have somebody paying your bills and taking care of all the little things, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know, I would personally use the services myself.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Yeah, that's a great testament to the whole team there, David. Yeah. And well, that's why we do it. That's why we employ your services.
Thank you.
You've helped over 100 plus people achieve their dreams of owning property. What would you say is the most common question you get asked?
Where?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
Where? We can translate that into location.
Yeah.
And I must say, when I started the company, like I was saying earlier, it was mainly to offer services to people who owned the property already. So it wasn't an issue that kind of occurred to me that I needed to deal with over time. And also my aim was to assist clients, potential investors, to buy a property which they could turn into a revenue stream through the rental or through the land banking. So I was going to be the one offering that support and all the consultation that was needed to make sure that the where was the right where. But then I found myself years later, and especially with COVID breaking in, that I was doing Zoom calls, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Zoom calls a week. And I would say the question was always the same: where?
Yeah.
That's the question we get asked in every single email, and then they ask for our help. And you know, I say you need a checklist. You need to know your why and what's on your checklist. And even if you haven't been there before, your checklist is going to tell you where that location is and you know, why do you want to go there? You know, what's the reason?
Yes.
So location, definitely.
You're a pioneer in your field when it comes to remote purchasing. What is your advice to people looking to buy sight unseen?
To use our services and our services only.
Yes.
At this moment, people would just close the video and move on.
No, this is
Stay with us.
to
Stay with
watch.
us, because I think it'll be interesting to explain.
Yeah.
And I must say, over the last probably 2 years, is a very, very recent phenomena that I speak to people who say, "Oh, I offer services and I have clients who purchase properties without ever coming over, just by sending a photos or videos or by having a call." And I would say, thank you, I'd off to them. If you've got the guts to do that. But I would say, yes, pioneering remote purchasing. I will continue to invest big numbers. I think when Jeff Bezos started his company Amazon, and he was sitting in his office waiting for a phone call to come and wrapping up those books and sending it all over the world, I don't think he realized really that he tapped into something that it was bigger than him. And well, now we know when we say Amazon, but and it's interesting really. When I started remote purchasing, I thought, yes, it'd be nice to use my skills, my toolkit, to assist clients to make sure that they could purchase the property that is in line with their dream, or the property that is in line with an investment I would like to use, because really that's me, that's my background, that's what I do. So I would like to say that no one really, or probably yes, there are a few, and probably large organizations, if they need to relocate offices, they spend a huge amount of money to do all of that background research to make sure that they're picking up at the right place, that the due diligence is done, that they can achieve what they really want to achieve short-term, long-term with that purchase. Well, when it comes to domestic purchases and 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, it's still a very, very small amount to actually be able to afford a consultant that is going to dive deep into your personal needs, into your personal aspiration, into your budget, into what you would like to achieve short-term, medium-term, and long-term, and deliver the best possible product. Well, I think a little bit like Jeff did with Amazon, remote purchasing came very organically for me, and all my skills were catapulted into what I've been offering for clients over the last 4 years, meaning that through a consultation process, I've managed to really dive into the private and personal needs of each one of my clients. And I've been able to then go out there, and also by engaging the client in the final choice, engaging the client to actually be in the driver's seat of something that was calculated and well researched to achieve the best result when it comes to buying real estate. I still say today, real estate can turn really into a liability rather than an asset. And I work really, really hard to make sure that remote purchasing offers an asset rather than a liability. So going back to the pioneering and the remote purchasing, what I do, I would say it's very unique, and it goes beyond going and doing videos of a property and then sharing it with a client who's thousands of miles away, doing a little bit of due diligence or do the due diligence and allowing them to purchase. And so remote purchasing for me, it's a very, very, very special word.
Yes, definitely. And the full package after, it's the after service as well, David. I don't think people understand. Sometimes they're just so eager to purchase, and then they don't think what happens when I get there. Like you said, the paying of the bills and so forth. So that to us was, that was top priority, really. Yeah. Especially not being there the whole time as well.
Well, I think one of the questions that sometimes people that are not used to invest, they don't ask themselves is what happens after. They're always focused on the now, and they're not focused on the after. For me, when it comes to a property, we all borrow them for a period of time. Property was there for hundreds of years before us, or 10 years or 20, whatever. And we'll use it for a period of time, and then we'll pass it on either to our children, generations, or we'll sell it. So for me, the question is always what happens after. And so after comes with the property management as well. Sometimes people are very eager to buy, and then what happens after? And so having all of those answers, and the concept for me anyway, right from the beginning, was always about the after, because the crystallization of buying a property is a simple, straightforward process. I find nothing exciting about making that happen remotely. What I find exciting, it's making sure that that product can be serviced after, and it is the right product. In between, it's just a transaction, and I'm not really focus. I don't think I've created anything special in making sure that the due diligence is done and I get the client to the signing of the paper. I don't think that's the special part. I think the search and the matching of the product with the after service really is what makes it very, very special.
Perfect. Yeah. Well said. Perfect.
We've watched your family business grow from 4 staff to 11. That is a testament to you and the team. Which part of your business do you find the most fulfilling?
Well, I mentioned the word circle. I find very fulfilling this circle. We really have gone 360, which was my desire from the beginning. So I can handle a private buyer who wants to buy a little property here in Salento or in Italy, or I can handle a large organization who wants to buy 10, 20, 30, 50 properties in Italy. And that's because we've created a mechanism that completes the entire circle, going from the consultation, the sourcing of the product, the purchasing, the management of the property, the generating the revenue through the renting company, and potentially the resale of the property through the new birth, which is Salento with Love Real Estate. So clients can find themselves building up a portfolio of property and maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years later using the services as well to resell the property. And obviously with us having all of those informations, it's like an investment fund, you know, so everything it's there, they manage your fund, they're managing your portfolio. So for me, achieving that last bit of the circle and sealing it, it's been a fantastic excitement part of my journey.
That's great. You've got a great system, and it's working. That's what they say.
Yes.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's working really well.
No, we're still building, so we're still.
Yeah.
I think the system still has huge amount of potential, but yes, that's kind of the cycle of what we do.
That's great.
Through Salento with Love, a community has flourished that is now known as the Salento with Love family. In the beginning, did you ever expect an extended family to evolve?
I wish I had glasses because I'm trying to read the answers that I wrote this morning while I was having coffee.
That's why I'm trying to read the questions on a small little phone here.
Give you mine.
Well, anyway, forget about that because I can't read it. Not because it's too small, because I've done a scribble. No, actually, when I first started, for me, it was very much an investment kind of mechanism that I was putting together. So I thought that moving on into the years, I would have created a pool of investors with small investors and large number of properties. I find myself at the moment a small amount of properties and many, many investors. And gradually, I think because of COVID as well, people needed to feel a sense of community. They came out of COVID. My business probably started not because of COVID. It would have gone anyway. It would have moved anyway. But COVID also allowed people to perhaps look inside and really come up with answers of what really is important in life. And so this has been transferred as well to the type of people that are brought to the table, if we can say that way. And I must say, it's amazing. People that come from all different parts of the world, United States, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Germany, and they all have something incredibly in common. It's almost like a series, you know, like a Netflix series, you know, where you don't get what it is, but there is something in common that ties it all in, you know. And it's kind of very, very special for me when I'm together and I see a lot of people coming together, or they're doing their own thing and they're developing this friendship. It's been a very, very special journey because of that. I must say, the family has grown beyond my capability of sort of keeping them all together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was my purpose right from the beginning, but I do really enjoy the fact that people are developing their own friendships and they are developing their own thing. I must say, I would like to see a lot of those members of that family developing more connections with the local people and the local land. Probably my little criticism, whoever is watching this video, expats, that they tend to sort of create a network, and their network is nexpats again. And I don't know, when I travel around the world, because I'm a world traveler, the first thing I want to do, I want to connect to the local people. If I find local people that speak the language, obviously it makes it a little easier. It just allows me to get inside the mind of the people that are there and why certain things happen in a certain way. Where if I'm mixing up with people that are just expats, you know. So I've answered your question. Yes, we've created a family. Yes, it's wonderful to think that it's a big community. But yes, it's lovely to see them as well, flourishing in their own dream that they're building for the future.
Yes. It's just nice to get in with the culture, which Dave and Renee actually mentioned in their
this week's video.
In their video, they actually mentioned that, getting to know the culture and getting to know the locals. So that's wonderful that you brought that up as well. That's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yes.
I would imagine you would have challenges from day to day. What does a normal day look like for you? Keeping in mind we only have a few minutes, okay?
Well, first of all, if you're watching this video, I would suggest go to my channel. And there is a series that it gets published every Friday, which is called Thank God It's Friday. It's a small amount of money. You'll have to pay to watch that series, €5 a month. Anyway, I haven't decided where that money is going to go to, but I support as well the girl who's doing a fantastic job with the editing. And so for me, also having people that can actually document the work that I do and the work that we are doing and the dreams that we are achieving, it is absolutely amazing. So if you watch Thank God It's Friday, to answer your question, you see what my day looks like. But for anyone who doesn't want to watch Thank God It's Friday, just a quick description on my day. So at the moment, I run 4 companies. I won't bore you with what each company does, but we talked about the circle. So my day will go from being at the office and making sure that things are happening in a certain way, although the staff does a fantastic job, being on building sites and working as a project manager, making sure that the sites are progressing. And I don't just do remote purchasing, I also do remote refurbishment. So having a remote project manager that actually understands what you're trying to do and stick with your budget and with the delivery of a high quality within the time frame, I think it's a pretty rare thing. So I do that as well. But then I do remote purchasing. So it means that I'll have to go and see properties that clients potentially would like to buy. And then I'll have to go to the notary maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 times a month to actually close on some of those deals. Then I like meeting with clients, meeting with tradesmen all the time, doing Zoom calls on every Thursday. I dedicate half a day, so between 3 to 5 calls on a weekly basis are spent in front of a camera right now. I answered between maybe, I've never calculated, but if I do an average of probably 100 or more than 100 WhatsApps a day, you multiply that times 6 to 7. I try to keep the Sunday a little bit looser. And so that gives you probably under 1,000 WhatsApps on a weekly basis. And also maybe between, I would say 100 to 150 emails on a weekly basis, although I'm copied in on every single email that the 9 people that work in the office send out. So it means that on a daily basis, I go through, even if it's just to have a glance, to at least 60 to 80 emails on a daily basis. And then I'll put them all into folders. So I create folders for every single chat that is going on every single argument. So I have a huge list of folders. People say, can you just search when you look for that particular email? No, I like to keep them in a folder because my world is made of boxes. So that's my day. And it goes so quickly. It's just unbelievable. I start this morning, say, thank God it's Friday. We're starting the week on this camera on my GoPro. And the next thing is going to be, well, I hope you've had a fantastic week. It's Friday afternoon. So it's just absolutely crazy how quickly it goes, but I enjoy it very much. But I think your question was about challenges. No challenges. There is absolutely no challenges in life. There's just beautiful things. Every time people think, that life is presenting them a challenge, I would like to think that, that could be one way of looking at it. And I've had some major challenges in my life. And I would like to think, yes, at that particular moment, maybe it was a challenge, but what I got out of it was absolutely fantastic for everybody. Yes. So I think, don't look at challenges, because whatever it is that life presents you is just an opportunity to grow and to get you to grow and develop and become a better person. And through that challenge, you really show the type of person you are. And if you take it on everybody else around you, when you have a challenge, well, you have to ask yourself, what kind of person are you if you take it on the people around you? So I like to think that when I'm going through a challenge, that's when I need people around me to deal with it and turn that into a beautiful opportunity. And so I don't have any challenges.
Yeah, it's the time for growth, isn't it? It's really, that's what that's about too. Yeah. Well, I hope
Yes,
you can see by the answer in that question that your passion and the way you think and your positivity. So that's important, because sometimes people have to find the right person they want to actually work with. So, you know, they can see it in the way you're answering that question. So yeah, thank you for that. That's
Yeah, I got to say thank you to YouTube. I don't know what algorithms they use, but I believe in frequencies. I don't believe in anything really, to be honest, but I believe that there is something that we don't see. And YouTube has allowed me to connect with people on different parts of the world, which they've parted to date with over, if I have to throw a number on this video, around about 40 million euros of sales achieved here in Salento in this period of time. And a lot of it is because these frequencies have met. And I truly believe that if you're just honest about what you do, you come across other people that just bump into that.
yes.
And they can read wherever they like. They can choose who they want to work with. But I've been very, very grateful to the technology and to the way YouTube has allowed me to go out there and help people, not necessarily buying houses here in Salento, but buying houses anywhere, not even in Italy, because the principles are always the same. And but I've been very grateful to the way YouTube has allowed me to connect with these people. And even if I haven't connected personally through a Zoom call, but through the channel and the information that I've delivered, for them to be a little closer to achieving their dream.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, totally
Yes.
great. Totally.
What gets you motivated each morning when you wake up? What is that passion that inspires you? You may have answered that already, actually.
Well, actually, in the morning, I love having breakfast. It's one moment that I don't have breakfast. I just have a coffee with milk in a big mug. So I'm not like a little espresso. But I have that with Barbara every morning. For people that have been following the channel, or probably that know me personally, they'll know Barbara is my partner. And so I really love that moment where she's having her biscuits and I'm having my coffee, and the morning doesn't go by where we have this very strong confrontational growth about business, about life, about philosophy of living, about kids, about clients, about the business. And I find that moment invigorating. And sometimes when it's missing, very rarely, I find that something is not really fine-tuned.
Yeah.
And I would say that goes for everybody. To grow, you really need to. The Bible says that I don't know why I use the Bible, but I use the Bible. There is also a little part of background that, but the metal gets sharpened with other metals. So always surround yourself with people that allow you to grow and develop. So my breakfast is my moment in the day that I get sharpened. And then I can go out there and I can really see my vision a lot clearer, because very, very important part and an invigorating part for me is when I drive the car and I listen to the music, or when I go for a swim, I talk just like I'm doing it now.
Yes.
I could rehearse this. And it's very important, I think, for people to practice this, because your dreams, they need to be expressed. Because while expressing your dream becomes a reality. You're actually listening to it. You're not listening to your thoughts. You're actually listening to your expression. So a very invigorating moment for me, it's when I'm talking, when I'm delivering my Q&As while I'm driving my car, but I'm not delivering a Q&A. I've done maybe thousands of Q&As, but you only have about a few tens or 20s on my YouTube channel. So I find it very invigorating, the element of sharing with other people my thoughts, my dreams, my aspiration. I do it with myself, and I do it with the people that I love.
Love that. Love that. Hour of power. I call that my hour of power every morning. I do.
People may think we're crazy. Well, I'll tell you this. We have a few seconds, but I went out for a very, very, very long swim, and I strapped my stand-up paddle to my ankle. I do this more or less every day for a couple of hours, but I was coming back and it was dark. This was like 2 weeks ago, and I was going to have 2 days meeting, brainstorming with a member of my staff. And And so anyway, while I was swimming back, and it was dark, and I was just swimming, I was getting bored, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to prepare with this brainstorm. So I spent an hour just talking while I was swimming. And while I was swimming, all of a sudden, I just heard this voice in the middle of the sea. Somebody says, "Are you all right?" And it was somebody else on the paddleboard that just saw the paddle with nobody on it and heard someone talking. And it made me jump while I was in the middle of the sea. So sometimes people may think we are crazy if we are talking to ourselves. But anyway, I thought I share that funny moment with
That's
you
all
and
right.
everybody who's
I
watching.
love it.
I talk to myself all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, never be worried about what other people think.
No, never do.
Yeah.
Never. It will hold you back.
Yeah.
That
That's
doesn't matter.
all right. Okay. Salento would love offer the full package and have now expanded to include renting in Puglia with a management team that can assist people after their purchase to attain an income from their asset. How did this expansion evolve?
Well, it was a natural progression from where I started. It was the original thought to have a property management company, like we said right at the beginning of the video, and the idea of allowing potential investors to generate revenue through the rental. So the renting in Puglia was already there right from the beginning. The properties were not there, but the actual thought and bringing it together was already there from the beginning. So we just sort of crystallized all of that last year, I think. Well, probably not beginning of this year. I kind of lost track of time, but by creating a specific division within the company called Renting in Puglia. Now, the idea of renting in Puglia was very, very different from portals that people may use or know, which are very well known, like Booking or Airbnb. The idea of renting in Puglia right from the beginning was to offer the investors a very good kind of investment return without really generating all of that surplus maintenance and property management that is normally generated when a property is rented just for a day, 2 days, 3 days. And so the idea of renting in Puglia is for long-term rentals. And when I say long-term rental, by the Italian law, anything that goes beyond 30 days needs to be recorded and registered with a proper contract. And so the idea of renting in Puglia was to offer that to people who are looking at renting for a longer period, but also offering a good return to the owner of the property. And so really we put these two things together and created, I think, something that will continue to grow, and it will become a very big asset for the company.
Yeah.
So that also that link. So we're going to have a couple of links underneath the description here. So Salento with Love will have the renting in Puglia link under here as well, and obviously the Salento with Love real estate link.
Yeah.
So we'll have all those links appear here on the screen as well as in the link description.
Yeah.
For the viewers.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No worries. Okay. Given the recent changes in the reciprocal agreement between Australia and Italy, we've received many emails from Australians asking how they can purchase property in Italy without Italian citizenship. What advice do you have for them?
Stay at home.
Pretty much that.
Well, I would say, people sometimes take for granted the fact that something can happen, and they get very frustrated. If you were from many other countries around the world, Pakistan, Iran, and I can mention the list goes on and on and on and on, you won't have any reciprocity. So the fact that you are Australian or whatever from a country that you think it's sort of up there doesn't necessarily mean that reciprocity is there. I mean, the last to be added to that list was Canada a couple of years ago, creating quite a lot of frustration, but it is what it is. And I would say there are no way around, and there are a lot of bloggers, and they just spend a huge amount of resources and wasting people's time and bringing their aspiration. And even if somebody was potentially able to do it, the reality is if everybody's telling you that you can't do it and then you're able to do it, you're not smart. You're just someone that is found maybe potentially a loophole, which is not going to get you anywhere. So I would say at the moment is a time of patience, may change. And if it doesn't, hey, the other alternative, come and rent in Italy. Maybe, what we were saying earlier, turning a problem into a solution, maybe rather than parting with 100, 200,000 euros and a refurbishment and everything else, You may rent a property for a year, 2 years, and realize that it's not the place for you, or it may be the place for you, and you can rent for the rest of your life. There's people that spend the whole entire life renting. There's nothing wrong with that. So I would say, rather than looking at it as a problem and constantly trying to circumvent that problem, see it as the solution. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes, there's always, and they've got those long leases too, the 4-year leases, 4x4 year.
Yes.
Yeah.
4+4, yes.
Yeah. And the rent's reasonable in Italy. It's not
Yeah,
like,
I think if you take out the big cities like Milan, Rome, and university cities, which are very sought after, you could probably rent a property here in Salento for long term for 4 years, maybe with a 4+4 for 600-700 euros a month, which is a very small amount of money when you put a little bit of utilities and everything else. There's people in the US or in Canada or in Australia, for example, where they're paying that kind of money probably on a weekly base.
Yeah.
So you could still look at it that way and say, okay, I can still have the Italian experience.
yes,
And renting a property for a year, and probably means that a year later I can move from 20 regions in Italy. I can move from Puglia to Sicily. I can move from Puglia to Tuscany. And by that time you're fluent. You can do wherever you like. And by that time, you probably have married an Italian man or you've married an Italian woman. And there we go. Bang. You could just buy the house. Sorted.
That's right.
Or you probably have divorced. It depends. I mean,
but there's always an opportunity. There's always, you know,
but there's always an opportunity.
A fork in the road.
The thing is, it's very interesting what you say in your beginning of your video, in every video, you know, your introduction. You have to go for it. If that's your dream, you've got to go for it. If you keep looking at the obstacle, all you see is the obstacle.
That's right.
And the obstacle is not going to move. You know, you just have to look at what's beyond the obstacle and how am I going to get there? And so if I'm going to get there by renting, by being there only for 3 months because I don't have a visa, do whatever you got to do, but just look beyond.
Yeah. Look for the other option. The opportunities are there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What advice would you give others who are contemplating whether to buy property or move to Italy?
Well, the ones that are contemplating buying a property, I would say make sure that you get the right consultants on board. I don't know how you will go about that, but I would definitely say if you don't know the area or if you don't know the actual acquisition process, it's not so much about researching just the area and spending all your resources and time in researching the area. Very important to research the things that are important to you. I think I did one of my remote purchasing videos right at the beginning. And it's very important to have a list of what's important to you, regardless of the area. If you can't stand the cold and you find a house in the mountain, even if the house has all those things that you like, but it's going to get cold in the winter. So it's very important to have your priorities. The area, it's more related to the actual importance of the asset value of the property. So there was a big talk years ago, now no one is mentioning them, about the €1 home. So I think for me, the property still remains a massive asset. So when I research the area, I'm not really researching the area, but I'm researching if the property in that particular spot is an asset and if it can be resold and if it's going to give me what I really need in life. So priority, it's me. What is the property going to give me to me? And then when I want to exit, is it going to turn into a liability or is it going to be an asset? It doesn't really matter if you're in the Umbria, if you're in Marche, if you're in Tuscany, if you're in Calabria, if you're in Sicily, if you're in Puglia, or in any of the beautiful 20 regions of Italy. Italy is beautiful everywhere. The question is, are you picking up an asset or are you picking up a liability? So if you're just buying a property, I would say very, very, very important to have a consultant on board that helps you through this process of clearing up a little bit of fog and making sure that you're picking up an asset. To answer the second part of the question, people are looking at moving to Italy. Well, I would say after 4 years of doing this and acquiring a little bit of experience, I'm going to say something that I didn't want to say, but I'm going to say probably, I would say go and rent a property. You'll probably find that if you're not catered for the big move, because it's not going to be the area, it's going to be your internal state. You're probably going to find that Italy is not the country for you, or probably Spain is not the country for you. Maybe Belize, Mexico is not the country for you. Probably home is the place for you. So renting will give you the opportunity to see if your motivations and your reasoning, it's really in line with your inner being. And so I would say renting gives you that opportunity. But you may have traveled to this part of the world or another part of Italy many, many times. And so you know that that's what you want to do. Remember, I specialize in remote purchasing. People come to me, they don't know the area, they haven't experienced the area. So I don't want to be blamed for the one that is actually putting them somewhere they don't want to be. But I can guarantee you that wherever that place was, it will still be the place where they don't want to be. So I would say anybody who doesn't know the area, who hasn't traveled to an area, well then, hey, come over, spend 3 months, spend 30 days, spend a few weeks trying to see what the local customs are, perhaps checking 2-3 times and see what the weather is like in the summer, what the weather is like in the winter. People say to me, Davide, you told us that it never rains here. Well, if it never rained, we'll be in a desert. Davide, you never told us it gets cold. Well, we're not in the tropics, you know. So I would say that the most important thing, if you're looking at relocating, explore the area and try to see what are those elements that connect to you, to your inner being. And if there are elements that connect to that, then you can really make the jump. And so a small investment of 3, 4, 5, 6,000 euros in renting a property for 3, 4, 5, 6 months is a small investment for the return of quality of living that you're going to get.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Certainly was.
Yes.
Sorry, a little bit articulated, but it comes from years of
I love that.
experience.
No, I just love that. I mean, I don't, I mean, we have told people, if they're stuck, definitely to go there and rent for that very reason you just said there.
Yeah.
And it's just great that you've actually just said that too. Like, it's, and I really think the big thing that I want people to take from this today is to connect with someone like yourself, like a professional, like not just go out there and, like you said, get into these groups or follow someone and think, oh, they did it, so we're going to follow what they did. It might not be in the area that you want. It might not be the sort of place that you're looking for. Like you said, they buy in the mountains, but they like being where the weather's hot. They didn't think, oh, well, why do I buy in the mountains when I want hot weather? I should have been in the south. So it just, if you're talking with it's money well worth spent, because it's a big investment. If you're thinking of buying a property, it's a big investment. So renting is a great option. So I'm glad you brought that up. That was just fantastic.
Yeah, I think renting, it's an option that still has been very undeveloped and people don't even consider it. Also because it's very difficult to rent. There are not many portals. And if you want to rent on a short term for 3 months or a year, it's pretty complex. I haven't come across anybody that does what renting in Puglia does, just like I haven't come across anybody that does what Salento with Love does. So I like to think that we are pioneering as well. So renting, it is a very small price. And the previous people, David and Renee, who were on your channel, amazing people, David, we can't wait to see them. They'll be here in Salento in a few days.
Yes.
But they went through that process of renting for a period of time. And we have another couple, Paula and Derry as well, who rented one of our clients' property for about a year. And now they're just in the process of purchasing a property. It's quite a few, those examples. So I think it's a very, very important process that you may have to go through. Obviously, if you feel comfortable and you know what you're doing, then just make sure that you have the right consultant on board. Because if you picked up the right product, sometimes people used to say still say to me, Davide, we're buying this property, we're sight unseen, we don't even know where Salento is, we don't know Puglia. What happens if we don't like it? You sell it. It's as simple as that. If you picked up the right product and you bought it right, you may lose a little, you may gain something, but hey, what's the big deal? You picked up the right product. If you picked up a liability that no one wanted to begin with and you picked it up, then you may have an issue. And that's why I'm very, very jealous of my remote purchasing process, because I want to make sure that people are picking up assets through my personal consultation. So yeah, I think it's very, very important if you're thinking of moving over to explore the area.
Thank you for that, Dave. That was great, David. Well, is that it, Michael?
Oh, that's it.
Oh,
wow.
That's it.
No more. We're finished.
Wow.
Taken
Well, I hope that people have stayed all the way. I hope the people have stayed all the way through to the end, because it's been like, it's going to be there for quite a long while.
That's all right. If they're serious and they need the help, they'll be there. And that's all that's important to us.
Anyone who wants to know about these things will sit through the whole thing.
Yeah. If we're just helping one person, we've achieved something. That's what it's about.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate your support. And as young YouTubers, you know, we've actually ventured into a world that probably didn't belong to us, including me. So I'm very, very honored to be on your channel. I think over the last few years, I've seen quite a number of my clients becoming YouTubers, actually some of them becoming very famous and very well known, and doing really well on YouTube. But I think it's still very important when you talk about real estate and not holidays and something that you're going to do and run off, to make sure that you are connecting with the right people that can actually get you to where you want to be.
Yeah, and that's what this whole series is about. It's just getting people connected to the right people like yourself. That's what exactly.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to have to let you go. I know you've got a busy schedule.
I'm sure.
Monday morning, busy, but I just wanted to do this on the Monday, you know, after the weekend. Ooh, buzzing. So
yeah, we're ready for the rest of the week now. So today, buy?
Rent.
Where?
Now there's the question. Where?
So that's what we're going to be talking about today.